Hi, my name is Ben, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about online collegiate courses and degrees. My main claim is that online collegiate courses pose many great inherent challenges for students. But first, a couple of definitions. For this speech, success will be defined as completion of a course or degree with a passing grade or certificate received. Retention is known as the knowledge comprehended and remembered. Just keep those in mind for the speech. I have 5 secondary claims. My first one is motivation to work online can be very difficult. My second, lack of social interaction with other students reduces success and retention. My third, instructor availability is limited in online courses. My fourth, technological limitations pose a great hindrance for students wanting to take online courses. And my final is that traditional classrooms are more effective at producing successful students. Back to my first, motivation to work online can be very difficult. Many students need the close contact with professors to succeed in classes. They worry about if they don't show up to class what the professor will think of them. In an online class, you do not have that. There is no motivation to go online and check the class beyond your grade and go and do your work. Many graduates of online classes admit that their classes are more difficult because of the level of discipline needed to go online, do the work, and check your grades and consistently follow up with the class. My second point was a lack of social interaction with other students reduces success and retention. One of the main disadvantages of distance education is the loss of interaction with other students in the classroom. These interactions help develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Sometimes the question isn't apparent enough for students to ask the professor, but an understanding of that question would help them understand the material. In these cases, many students ask the student next to them for advice or assistance with the question. This helps with your retention and the overall success in the class. Blogs and online chats are not sufficient enough to replace this. Many people have questions on the fly. It's not timed out when they have a question when other people are online or anything. And electronic communication lacks translation of understanding and comprehension. My third point is instructor availability is limited. About a third of all students enrolled in college are enrolled in online courses with professors that have very little interaction with the student. Because it takes more time for a teacher to meticulously go over their notes during videotaping a lecture for an online course to make sure that they cover all possible questions and all possible aspects of everything, many teachers don't do this. It takes too much time for them to do it, and they simply don't have the time or they're too lazy to. This hurts the students because they may not want to ask the question. It may not be important for them enough to ask via email, and they don't get the answer to it. This harms their retention and their success. My fourth point, technological limitations pose a great hindrance for students wanting to take online courses. Some students are simply not computer literate. Of course, these students wouldn't sign up for an online class. But out of the students that are computer literate, how many of them either have a computer at home or have the internet speed to deal with an online class? According to Vern Gopitov, in a book called America, Land of the Slow, America was ranked 26th worldwide in a ranking of countries' average internet speeds. The average internet speeds in America are not sufficient enough to sustain a video conference regularly. The interruptions and buffering for a student to view the lecture cause interruptions in their critical thinking process and therefore hinder their success and retention. My fifth point, traditional classrooms are more effective at producing successful students. The dropout rate among online classes is higher than the dropout rate among traditional student classes. The dropout rate for distance education programs is estimated to be 35%, compared with only 20% for traditional colleges and universities. Although students who enroll in online courses tend to have stronger academic preparation and come from higher income brackets, students who take online classes early in their college careers tend to drop out. They don't do as well in online classes as they do if they take face-to-face classes. Part of that is a shock coming from high school of constantly having a face-to-face interaction with your teacher and other students, and part of it is they get lazy. They don't constantly check. They don't do the constant checks needed for an online class. The difficulty of online classes is the major part of a higher dropout rate for online courses. Students just aren't motivated enough, and they do not have the time nor the know-how to keep up with that schedule of checking the class constantly. In a face-to-face class, many students are bound to show up. They may miss a day here or there, but overall, they will show up and they will gain in retention. Many professors have strict policies on cell phones and computer uses during classes, which force students to focus during the class on what the teacher presented, not on other social medias. These 5 points are the reason why college courses are inherently troublesome for students. Thank you.
All right, Ben, you've got a very clear statement of your claim. The secondary points are laid out. There's a lot of them. There are 5 of them, so it gets a little overwhelming, but you get through each of those points. The reason you're able to get through each of those points, though, is because the support for them is usually thin. The first 3 or 4, all you really have is some hypothetical examples and a lot of claims on those parts, and I think you need something more than that. When you get toward the end, you had a little bit more data. You had the one statistic, for instance, that mentioned what the dropout rate was, and I thought that that was a good statistic. I didn't really hear a source citation on it, and so that's also a little bit problematic. It sounds to me like you've got a very clear statement, a good organizational pattern, and what you need is the data to fill it in. You've got a 10-minute speech with about 1 or 2 minutes worth of evidence plugged into it, and you need something that kind of is between those. So you need a little bit more evidence and maybe a little fewer claims, or you need some good evidence that allows you to make 2 or 3 of those claims at one time, because there's just a lot of stuff that ends up being asserted. I thought you did an okay job presenting to the audience, and I appreciated that. Oh, I know there was some other data on that tech issue. That was the other one that actually had some evidence on it. So it was the last 2 points that had some good data on it. Okay, thank them.